So picking back up where we left off from the last session, we cracked Lois's password using a dictionary attack. Now let's exit out of here. We saw where cracking it with a brute force attack would be difficult. And really we didn't need to do it because it was a simple password. So a brute force, unfortunately, without regard to thinking about it, would have gone on for years before it cracked a simple password like Superman. Now one thing I want to show you here is the LM hash column and the NT hash. As I mentioned, LM hashes are a little bit older. They were used in older Windows programs. And the reason you don't want to use those is because they're very easy to crack. What LM hashing does is it actually takes the password and uses its 7-character chunks. If the password is longer than 7 characters, it's a 7-character part, and in another part that maybe 2 more characters, let's say it's 9, and it pads the rest. And that padding is actually easy to break. It also throws the password to complete uppercase, so that eliminates any effectiveness of lowercase, that character space. So you can see where the LM password was all caps Superman, the NT password was lowercase Superman. That's what the actual password was. So we used NT hashes versus LM hashes. Had we used LM hashes, we might have seen the password broken up into 2 pieces, or it may have actually cracked one part of the password and not the other. So some other things to note up here. We have an administrator password and we have several other passwords. Now one thing I want to show you here, this is interesting. Remember I said that a unique password produces a unique hash. Now look at the administrator password here and the NT hash. It starts with 879278503C2 and so on. Now look at my password, same identical hash. So what should that tell you? That user, Bobby, has the same password as administrator. So if we guessed one, we would also have the other. So that's a big no-no with passwords, is if you're going to have multiple accounts on a box or use multiple accounts anywhere, don't use the same password twice, because if someone breaks one, they can break all of them if they're identical. Another thing that I want to point out is this empty password here. Even the empty password has a hash. And the NT hash for this is 31D6CF, so forth. And if you look here, it's a little bit different. So this tells you a couple of things. If you compare the LM hashes, they're identical. If you compare the NT hashes, they are not. The reason is this is not an LM hash. It is an NT hash. So there is no NT password for the support account. You'll find that it'll look this way on Windows 7 and Vista also. If you ran CANenable on Windows 7, even if everybody had complex passwords, for LM they would all show as empty. But with NT passwords they would not. So that tells you that LM is not being used or is turned off on a Windows 7 box. So that's just some other interesting things there. Now we could try to crack Clark's password here. And let's go with the NTLM hashes again. And I'm going to do another brute force. And I'm going to up the character length. Let's say we know that the minimum password that the Daily Planet requires is 10 passwords and the maximum is 16. So we can start there. Look at our key space, 3 point a lot of numbers to the 31st power. So we can start that. And again, we're going to get obviously a lot of passwords here that are being tried per second. But still, the amount of time is 2.3 something to the 17th power years. Although it starts out with at least 10 characters. Okay, so that actually gives you a little bit of a leg up on cracking it, but not much. It really didn't make a difference. So let's go ahead and stop that right there and quit. And let's go back and do a dictionary attack on it again. And let's reset our position here. And let's go ahead and just start it and see what we get. Now it's going to go through every single entry in that small word list. And I say that's small because that's the basic word list that comes with CANenable. It's not very big, but you can see it's on the I's now. So, what did we come up with? We came up with I love Lois. Now, that's not a dictionary word normally, and it's not a mutation, but you could add your own words to the word list that may be relevant to the person. In other words, if you do social engineering and you kind of get an idea that Clark Kent's got the hots for Lois Lane, you might put that in your dictionary file, and so you customize this file for the individual you're trying to crack sometimes. If you knew that the person liked football, you could put major football teams in their area in there, for example. Or if you knew they liked certain cars, you could put things like Mustang, Camaro, Corvette, whatever in there. So we got Clark's password as well. Again, a simple password. It's not complex. So, and we could try to guess another one if we like. Let's use a dictionary. Let's skip the brute force. And let's reset the file position. Let's start again. Now again, this is going to take just a few seconds. We'll let it run through and see what we get. 20% done. 26% done. Now understand that dictionary attacks are not always going to work, because you could have millions of words in your file, but if you don't have the one word that is the password of the individual, then it's not going to work. Now in this case it worked, but notice the password. It's capital P $$W0RD. It has uppercase, lowercase, numerals, and special characters. And it is at least 8 characters long, so it meets complexity requirements. But again, a dictionary file can break it as long as the word's in there. So that's password cracking, kind of just a basic demonstration. And there are other password cracking tools that are just as good or better. John the Ripper in Linux, Loftcrack, and some others. But this is just a quick demonstration for you.